Faisal, I've always appreciated your love and fascination with Christ, especially coming from Islamic culture. How did that happen?
Thanks for this question. This is very personal for me. I really love this theme, about Christ and what Christ really means, and I hope I am not stepping into, conflicts and you name it. So please, everyone, do not make assumptions. Just listen to what I'm trying to say. Really. Yes, I was born in an Islamic culture. And, in Islam, Christ is highly, highly regarded. He is the Spirit of God blown into Mary's womb. He is the Logos of God. He is the Word itself. This is the definition of Christ in the Quran. He was given so many miracles, to do so much. So he is a very, very special being. He is the Spirit of God, the point of God, manifesting. So it says a lot, except it doesn't say that he is God or the Son of God. Maybe it says it, but they don't see it, So there is some debate now about it, and they differ with the Christianity about this point, that he is Son of God and all of those things, But that's political and religious, and really I am so far away from that. I am beyond all of these limitations and boundaries. I am just with the real, the beauty of what is here. And it's fascinating that we have a being like that, and, like to see so much of us rushing to other cultures, other things, and Christ is set aside and it's considered like it's an obsolete to go to Christ and the church. And I understand the Christianity, and it's different from churchianity and all of this, humdrum. But I want to talk about Christ from a very different perspective, what personally it really meant to me. There is a whole verses in the Quran about Christ and who he is and what he is about, And I want to address it from a different, refreshing kind of, for me, perspective. I was just reading, 2-3 days ago, a quote by William Blake, is the poet. He said, Jesus Christ is the only God. Jesus Christ is the only God. So am I. And so are you. This is to me what the significance of the story and the journey of the Christ. He has pointed to me the path and the way to individuated Godhood. He filled in the hole that Buddhism negated and other system negated, that there is no self and there is no point and it's all an illusion. He said, no, I am the Alpha and I am the Omega and I am the way and I am the truth. And he is ultimate, as I said, narcissist. He didn't leave anything, but he wasn't a narcissist in the way we know. He wasn't like selfish. He was telling us what we are. His story signifies the journey of the point of light. This magnificent being coming from the realm of light, from the absolute, entering a house of flesh. As I said before, house of flesh in Arabic is Beit Lahem. Beit Lahem means house of flesh. He was born in Beit Lahem, and the Logos became the flesh. The divine point of light came in a form, and in the Quran it says that humanity, we were created through Adam, and Adam was created as a mold, and God blew his spirit in Adam, and the mud became flesh. And of course, this is not exactly the reading. He's not created from mud the way we think. It's a whole different teaching. It's very different. But the Logos became the flesh. Humanity forgot, since Adam time, forgot the nature of what we are. They thought we are just flesh. We are just material. We are just body. We are just this realm. And they forgot that we are also spirit. And we come from a greater kingdom, from the absolute luminosity, from the realm of essential domain and magnificence. So when humanity forgot, God says he wanted to remind them again of their origin, of who they are. So manifested again as Christ, trying to remind them. So Christ was exactly who we are, points of light, and all what he says is not just applicable to him. The church tried to say it only him, he is the Son of God. Well, I am the Son of God. You are the daughter of God. And I am the Son of Man, and you are the daughter of man. We are all children of the Absolute. And we are all children of the flesh, you know. It's just nothing bizarre. It's very, very obvious, very normal. And he journeyed and he tried to bring goodness, and then he was nailed on the cross, and then he resurrected. But that happens to every point of light. You know, every child is a point of light, is a shining star within, and went through the fall, through the conflict with the parent and the developing of the personality. And now we are walking around with our crosses. Each one of us is nailed on our personality cross. I remember there was an old movie of Peter O'Toole, you know. I don't remember what it is. Every night before he goes to sleep, he goes and hangs himself on the cross, you know. Like, it's symbolic of that's what we do. We're always going back to our ego, to our woundedness, to our being nailed on the personality. And the Christ said this can also be, you know, be transcended, could be released. And that's what the work is that the work is to liberate us, poetically speaking. Now, not analytically. I'm speaking from a foolish plane, from the poet. Poetically speaking, we can drop our crosses and be in our body of resurrection. We can come from our ego, from our personality, from our armoring, to our point of light, to our essential state, our stupa, chandeliers. You know, I mentioned those names for the people in the work, to aspire them, to begin to tie the, you know, the threads. So Christ represents to me the journey of the point of light that's been ignored by the absolutist, you know, and the absolutists negate the individuality of what we are and the journey of what we are and the fall and the suffering and the resurrection accessible to us, and that the kingdom is ours and it's here forever and we are here forever, you know. And the kingdom is at hand. There's a whole glorious story in the journey of Christ that reminds us, pointing to what we are and how we are. That's why I love this being. And of course, through my inner journey and encountering with this being, you know, you want to call him the Christ, wonderful. The Messiah, wonderful. You want to call him Lord Divine, which I call him. He is really Lord Divine. I encountered the most sublime, the most sophisticated, the most enlightened entity I have ever encountered. When I encountered him and I checked the other entities like Dalai Lama, Karmapa, other prophets, they were like teenagers in the neighborhood. And he was the adult. He was really the adult who reached the pinnacle of maturation and evolution. So he sets the example, you know, for me to walk the walk. You know, Buddhists give me the example of letting go, the freedom to go to my mind and be free from concepts. But I don't know how to walk the walk. You know? And the Christ said, no, there is a kingdom and there are rules and there are regulations and they are to be honored, and whoever lived by the sword shall die by the sword. So there is the law of karma, you know. And he honored the 10 commandments that Moses brought, and all of them, you know. And we have a magical kingdom, and the more I awaken and the more my soul matures, I bow to this kingdom. In one hand, I thought before it was a jail. I wanted to come out of it, you know. It was a cage. I wanted to come out and be in the absolute. And now I am willingly, happily going to my golden cage. You know, we call marriage in the Middle East going to the golden cage. You know, my wedding time, my wedding days, seeing the glory of the point of light and that there is a Maha point of light, a Maha star. Somebody like you and me went through these processes and learned and evolved and cultivated the highest octave, not only of wisdom, not only of knowledge, not only of illumination, but of love. No one that I encounter in any level has reached the level of the emanation of the Christ love. And it is divine love. It is the most gentle, the most sublime. When you are in its presence, you cannot just bow. You cannot just be in your knees like in the church, you know. I thought it was just a gesture. It turned out to be, no, it's a reality. When you are in that emanation, everything in you becomes receptive. You want to receive it. So he exemplified to my soul, to my ego, to my quest, an aspiration to reach. How to walk the walk. How to have an ideal, you know, an idol. And it's in the human nature that we seek an idol. All of us, we need a shepherd, you know. This is like the shepherd, you know. And if I get lost, he sends some of his dogs to bark at me, to come back, you know. And sometimes I am one of those dogs. I bark at some of them, like, come on, you know. Where are you going, getting lost in your ego activity? So this is the beauty to me, the connection of the Christ and what he means. Really, I wish that those who have all those hang-ups about the Christ, set it aside. Your hang-ups is about the church, not about
That's
the
right.
Christ, you know? Really. And if you are a Jew, get over this, you know. He came as Jesus. He is the Messiah. Probably he'll come 1,000,000 times. He came in many reincarnations, you know. 2 major ones, the first coming and the second coming, but he also came, I think, many other reincarnations, as Mozart, as many other reincarnations, minor.
Padmasambhava?
Padmasambhava, you know, he promised to come to the Tibetans. You know, when he went to Tibet, they asked him, would you come and teach us? He said, I'll come back 600 years, you know, and 600 years, Padmasambhava came. So what if Padmasambhava is nothing but the Christ? And he brought us the diamond path, Vajrayana, the vehicle. And that we are receiving some of it through this now. The diamond logos is receiving some of this teaching, some of this emanation. You know, to me, it gives something, some joy in my heart. There is an elder. It's not just absolute and free, you know, that's wonderful, you know. But to me, at a certain level, it's kiddish. It's enlightenment 101, you know. Let's mature, let's get a little bit more advanced in enlightenment, learn the wisdom and the bow and the glory of this kingdom, and how to walk a walk of grace, of love, of beauty. I haven't found anything as beautiful. And whatever years is left for me now, I just want to walk the walk and say hallelujah, you know. And
abiding in the awakened heart.
Sorry?
Abiding in the awakened heart.
Yeah. And in the dweller of the awakened heart, the one who built the temple. This is the temple of King Solomon. And he is the Lord of the King Solomon temple. He is the Lord of that lineage, you know, the whole lineage. You know? It can't tie with Christianity, Judaism, Islam. It's all one beautiful story that got fragmented and, you know, like the Jews in one camp and the Muslim come back. I mean, it's
parallel myths.
It's such a ridiculous thing, losing the perspective, you know, the glory of what we are, you know. So I love it when Blake says, Jesus Christ is the only God. So am I. So are you. And that's how the point of light feels, is I am the only God. And once you accept this feeling that you are the only God, you are really the pinnacle, this is the ultimate narcissism. Once you accept it, altruism opens. Altruism will not open as long as you are defended against this grandiosity, against this feeling. Once you feel what the ego wants, that I really want to be the only God, and feel it, it turns into a drop of sweetness. And you say, I want everybody to be their own God and goddesses. You know, it's more fun that way, more enjoyable that way. That's why I have him, you know, I have the picture right here. Behind him. And around him is written, the Messiah, the Lord of love and peace.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, thanks for this. Thank you for everything, Shelley, really. Your presence helped it unfold.
Thank you.